All right, welcome back.
Are we live?
We are
yet?
live again with another episode of Roll for Story, the Claude Coast arc.
Almost
When we
have
last
50
left
episodes for this arc.
50.
Yeah, be next
What?
week.
Oh my god! Not as long as longer than I expected, I should say. But nonetheless, you guys are almost there. You've figured out there's clearly something terribly wrong going on in the dry oasis. People are being affected by some kind of curse, which you recently stripped away from the arch the arch abbot of the Serene Waters. His name is Saladin. He has no recollection of all the days previous. He says he has memories of like a vague dream, like vague cult-like activities in his head, but they're all a blur, and he's incredibly exhausted as well. It's like he hasn't been having much sleep, and obviously he's been through a battle with you guys, so that's enough to take it out of anyone. But yeah, nonetheless, you've also discovered a few things around Malone's tower, that being a book that records dreams, the dreams of the closest sleeping occupant. And yeah, I think you've found a couple of other odds and ends. But it seems whenever you investigate, you find something new in this place. And you discussed what you'd like to do next. But at the end of the session, Llewellyn took Kashan into the magnificent mansion, and you were just about to open this large set of double doors right at the back, where the Snurgs have been guarding up till now. They've told you, "You're not allowed in here. It's off limits, staff only." So, well,
One of them tried to get me to open the door.
oh yeah, well that was deceitful Snurg.
Yeah.
That was disloyal Snurg. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyway, but that's exactly where we left off. I guess I'll hand it over to you, Llewellyn, to sort of bring us in.
So I stopped Kashan before the doors.
Wow.
Did you just meow?
No.
I don't think I've ever heard you meow before.
It's a vet office.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something amazing. Stabby, stabby.
But yeah, the last left off, we were talking about Kashan and his trust issues towards Llewellyn
Oh yeah.
over the past.
Oh yeah, and you had your super secret special room that apparently is only for me.
Well, not. Yeah.
Oh, I see how it is. I'm not special then.
It's only for cat people.
You understand what the Magnificent Mansion is, right, Kashan?
Well, you've tried to explain to me once before and I got very bored, but I can just imagine it's a magical place where you've created every single room to your design, I guess.
Well,
Which explains all the scratching posts in my room.
Well, the rooms are my perceptions of you guys.
Ah, that makes it all better.
Just like the map room is my knowledge of the world and getting around, and the library is my knowledge within the world.
Yes. It's effectively like living in your head.
Exactly. And saying that, I open the doors. And this is the most important room to me. This is
no.
What's our reaction? No, this is my memory room.
Oh.
This is where I keep all the memories I try to keep from being lost. I figure if I can see them straight on in front of me, then they won't be forgotten. The good and the bad. And also the door is locked, but yeah. I guess I put my hand on it and as I do, take a key from around my neck and unlock it and open the door.
I turn around and look at the snacks.
And you see on one side lined paintings of people, and on the right side paintings of people. Down the middle, you see walls with paintings of all the different beasts and bosses we've fought. To an extent, they do move, like in the memories. So you see like the giant super beholder and its tentacles like moving. But not quite actually there, but yeah.
It's a painting, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in every alcove there seems to be. Was it there's doors, isn't there, Llewellyn?
They're all paintings that you open up.
Well, I mean, like there is a door and like a chamber, and then a painting in that chamber, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Kashan, as you look around, there's tons and tons of smaller little galleries off to the side, and as you look into them, you see familiar faces. There is, for example, there is Irina on the right immediately, and Andali and Carius, and you actually come up to seeing your one very soon as well. Obviously, this is mostly all theatre of the mind. We haven't created the whole thing because that'd take a lot of effort.
It
But
would.
effectively, yeah.
But you see a picture of yourself, and you're looking very stern and yet calm and ready for combat. Because that is the most natural pause that I know Kashan from.
Oh my god, you've added more.
Have I?
Yeah, right at the
Have I?
back here.
Oh, that's always been there. But that's
Oh, okay.
super.
You see, there is a small little furry creature in a statue that's snarling with silvery claws. It's ripped it.
Nice.
He's holding on to his gramophone that used to be mine.
I will say I wasn't expecting this.
Well, this is where I keep all the things I care about.
Right at the back of the room, you see there is a assortment of different elves. One of them is a human in long silk robes, sporting the sort of blues and golds of the capital color.
Do any of the
Capital
names
city
sound
color.
familiar to me?
Oh, there's no names. It's
Ah.
just pictures.
Do any of them scream out at me as to who they are?
But
you might recognize a similarity. You can give me, I don't know, an insight or perception check.
But the one at the back is as Chris said, but there's also 3 other people in it. There's 2 younger and 1 woman, but them 3 are less regal looking, more standard.
There is a resemblance to Llewellyn's kind of facial structure in the 2 center ones. And I guess, yeah, definitely the whole family, in fact, seems to have some resemblance.
That's your father,
It is.
I'm assuming.
And my mother and my little brothers.
Do either of the 2 little brothers look as much of a little shit as Llewellyn?
Oh,
Well,
That's up to you, Llewellyn. How they kind of look.
They definitely have all their eyes. And
Right.
So they're more responsible, I see.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to get into that room.
They look like they're wearing modest kind of clothing, and
I climb the walls.
This is what I came to show you.
on the left, you actually see a Snurg. Snurg is in here as well.
Yeah. So,
You see some armored female knight as well, and don't think you recognize her. She's over below Snurg.
Oh yeah.
There is a half orc below that. A fancy looking. How would you
Snake
describe this?
woman.
Yeah, almost like circus kind of troupe with the top hat, cane, a masquerade mask. Actually, more like masquerade. There's a snake wrapped around their shoulders and neck. There is a black dragonborn in full plate armor, wielding
Oh
a
boy.
wielding a greatsword, standing there, standing vigilant, ready. There is, of course, a purple-skinned tiefling. There is a dwarf. No, is she a dwarf? Halfling, I think. Halfling cleric, right?
halfling, yeah.
Yeah, she's a halfling cleric in chainmail, sporting a holy symbol of Lathander, I believe, or might be in the Morning Lord.
Thandra is the Morning Lord, or is that Palor?
Pelor. That's Pelor.
Helor is it?
Hello to you too.
There is a female, roguish-looking human. She's kind of shrouded with a bandana over her face. She's clearly got like concealed knives in her leathers. She's kind of a bit standoffish in her posture, I'd say. And then there is a human male that's got a necklace around his neck. Would they have the necklace actually? That's a good question. Oh no, this would be Kalta. So Kalta is the actual. She's a blacksmith, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then there is, in fact, Cassiphine here as well. But you don't know her. She's so many people you don't recognize. But you reckon the villain's met a lot of people on his adventures.
Yeah, technically this would be one block stretched out further because there'd probably be a Uriune room. And probably a Chad room as well. At
Yeah,
this point.
yeah. It seems almost like this place could stretch on infinitely, just adding more gallery after gallery. But so far, it seems that most ones you recognize are on the right-hand side. You see Datan, there is Elravan. Well, in fact, 4 Elravans.
Yeah, it'd be 4 of them stood in the painting.
Yeah.
All of them fighting for the center place.
I wouldn't say that. Winter's probably like, nope, you're not taking a picture of me. Summer's like, yes, glory to me. And autumn's like, eh. And spring's probably like, eh.
And following that, there are paintings of Laffy, of Patience, and of Tidal Wave as well. The whole crew is here. But that's everything you see there, Kishan.
Krishan will probably just be walking one by one.
You're actually walking in one by one.
Just kind of like, obviously, like skimming over the people he knows.
So, which ones do you go in first?
There's more inside.
Oh yeah, these are all doors.
Yeah, these are doors, and then you have like a little small art gallery in the interior.
Yeah, they're all painted doors.
Like each person's got their own sort of mini gallery, so to speak.
I ran into Kavaz because his name sounds cool and it has apostrophes. No, no,
And begins with a K.
No, I'll go into my own.
Okay.
Very vain.
Well, I want to see what this creep's got on me.
So-
Here's Kashan sleeping. Here's Kashan eating his favorite food.
So it's a lot bigger than you expect on the inside than this, but you see the wall is just littered with paintings over and over from memories of us all dancing in the tavern when we were under the dreams state. The multiple
that-
multiple times that you died, one from the shadow beasts, and then obviously one after the prison. You've got you.
How many portraits have I got of me punching Lavelle?
There would be a couple of those, to be
There's
fair.
probably like a collage.
In fact,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a collage of pictures of you hitting Lavellen that amass into a picture of you hitting Lavellen.
Ooh,
It's
Yes.
that thing that
Yeah.
like obviously girls tend to do where they take those selfies with each other on their like day out, but it's you punching the velvet and each other.
you could get a holographic. You
Oh,
could get like a
this-
holographic, so when you like twist it, it like
So there's there's loads of like good memories of you kicking ass and stuff, and flying through the air while you're being levitated, and curled up in your box, or you two blinking away to the other ship, like you and Irina, stuff like that. And then you've got bad ones where it's like where you're dying, like when you were chained to the post in the jail. You know, the ones that
Oof.
really stick with
Ooh.
Lavelle. And
you nearly died by shadows.
yeah, all the way up to ones
did
like when you were stunned against the clerics very recently, you'd see that that's like in the means of being painted.
Is there like a snug with like a smock and a little artist hat, just doing oil painting?
The mustache.
No, he's like Bob Ross. He's got an
Oh
afro.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a happy little accident.
No, Gross.
It wasn't, but it is now.
He's got snurfro.
But you see, you would see that he's not like actually painting. He's just like waving brush over the thing, and it's just all appearing like
Yeah.
at a slow pace
Hmm.
as it's like solidifying in Lavellin's memory. God damn it!
This
But-
is really weird.
Don't make it
And
weird.
I'm. jo-
Make it weird.
There we go. Another one pops up in the collage.
Oh yes, we needed that one to fill in your eyes.
I hope you understand that I care for you dearly, and I feel like there's been trust lost recently. I see a lot of occasions where you don't seem to include myself or Carius in what I feel would be important discussions, and this is just to show you that I wouldn't do anything to break that trust with you.
It is actually quite hard to lose my trust once you've gained. I care very much for yourself as carrier, as I've of course demonstrated with this portrait as I'm slowly watching the paint dry and me dashing off with Carius in arms from the back of the wagon. I will never ever turn on you. I will never throw you to the wolves. In fact,
You
I
two-
know the trust is there.
Yeah, we did what we did. Well, I don't know about Carius and spilling the beans on the whole floating islands, but I did what I did to try and help you get your scrolls back. It wasn't a means of trying to betray you.
This entire situation is also new to me. I mean, take me back about a year or so, and I was just another monk in the monastery, and now I'm the so-called chosen one to follow the path of Lodorvu. This has been a big pressure, and this is something that I do not want to be thrown away, especially if I now know that some of my findings can be used as a weapon. You understand why I lashed out,
I do. I do.
and you understand why I need to keep something secret. I am not yet an open book, as you are yourself, as he gestures around to the room around. I need to keep some things contained. I need to keep my past behind me, to be able to keep on moving forward.
Well, we're here for you, and we got your back all the way. Even if you get a taste of your own medicine and get stunned by multiple clerics.
Indeed. However, that is now in my past, and I can happily forget about that. Because, in fact, a wise man in my monastery once taught me something that has stuck for so long. The past is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. But today is a gift, which is why they call it the present.
Wow. Wow.
Good quote.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, he didn't last past the quote.
But also,
Something eviscerated him.
but also, there is also understanding that the past is a lesson for the future.
We all learn from our mistakes, and we grow strong because of them.
Exactly. Like, and I gesture to like the ones where you died. It's like that's not happened in a while. And
This is very true.
it's
I'm
good.
I'm hoping to keep my life count at least above, well, 5 for a while.
9 lives and all that.
Yes, unfortunately, it's starting to become less of a stereotype, as most of my family have been told.
Well, coming from someone who is usually not again, this isn't that long since I was alone too, and people seem to just come and go like it's nothing. You're the longest standing friend that I have, and if I dare say, probably my best friend. So to feel like there is a connection off between us is concerning to me, and this is why I felt need to show you this place.
You don't need to have any concern about it. I feel very much the same. You are a brother to me. If I dare say, my old friend. Before my time as a monk, I still also hold them very dearly, but I hold you to the same standard. And I would give my life in trade for theirs. So I hope that holds some weight to you.
For sure. But
Faux show. Fist bump.
Yeah, really compassionate though.
Really touching moment and something, yeah. For sure.
Faux
Like
show.
there's no emotion in that response at all.
It's that a old big gay.
I didn't know what to say. Oh god.
Yeah. Put it there.
Yeah.
Slap her some skin.
Dead friends. All right.
But yeah,
Chaos okay.
you're welcome to come back here if you ever feel the need to. But maybe we should go figure out this mystery and get you on your way to choking to death in an elemental plane.
Yes, that's going to be a fun one. And I am actually very curious on a couple of these people here. Like, who's that really strapping looking dragonborn over there? Oh, perfect.
The most honorable guy you'll ever have met.
And what is about his girlfriend to the left?
What?
Yeah, it's gonna ask, is it the female glory or male glory?
Maybe it's both.
Yeah, could be.
They're both pressed up against the the side of the portrait.
Wait, oh god, no, must resist the joke for crude humor.
As we're walking past, Lilvelen points out one of the paintings that is like a giant white fluffy beast. I'm just like, Yeti.
Still bullshit.
That's something the Snurg made up.
Yep. It was an artist representation.
So as you leave the gallery behind, locking the door, presumably,
You
the
see,
memories are locked away.
yeah, you see Lilvelen grab the key, and he splits it into two, and passes one to Kashan.
Now you have a key. So
Cheers, mate.
the memory archive.
Now I don't have to worry whether you're gonna lockpick your way in.
But that's no fun.
All right. So, the rest of you guys, what would you been up to, whilst this is going on? Is there anything you'd like to do or discuss?
And Carius is sitting with near Saladin with the dream journal, but he'll probably call Irina and Andy over whilst we're waiting for those two to get back.
Sure.
And just be like, right, so based on what we know so far, there's a couple of potential avenues we could take, and none of them seem much better than the others. The first is to, and I doubt you'll like this one, Andy, see if we can break into the guardhouse and find out any information that might be stored there, if the captain has been turned. Second is to check out the catacombs in the church again, but properly this time without me being put in prison. And the third is to, from what I can see, is to try to work out roughly where we were when those things turned up to take us away, and try to head in that direction to see if we can find wherever they're hiding out in the desert. Well, though I'm hoping that this dream journal will give us a bit of information, but...
Oh, Chris.
yeah.
Let's put some chairs down for you.
I'm not sure what else would be a suitable course of action. Any ideas?
I think going back into the catacombs right now is probably a bad idea until we know what Saladin remembers. There's always the risk of those, what do you call them, acolytes, followers, running around the building, and we may just end up in the same situation we were in before. I think the best thing to do is to almost like lie in wait until they take their next victim, and follow it so we can actually find where they're taking them.
That's not a bad idea. Another idea that just came to mind is, obviously we're getting the information from Saladin, but we're getting that sort of second hand from his subconscious. I'm wondering if it may be worthwhile trying to capture someone to because from what it looks like, the carpenter's wife is associated in some way.
Yeah, but I think like that's just going to cause more mayhem. Like kidnapping someone is a completely different ball game to following people.
Well, we've already kidnapped one. But
unless if we can get close to someone that we know has potentially been cursed, much like Saladin, I could potentially remove it. But I can't remove it on every single person unless we had like, one of those big magnifying glasses that they had on the temple. If we had one of those here, that'd be really handy. Mind you, the entire city has sand, right?
Yeah,
you melt it down, make a really big lens, and I could maybe do that again. Just uncurse the entire city at once.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. We could even use the airship as a focal point, perhaps, because it'd be high up enough, or the top of the mage tower, maybe.
What are the components?
There's Harthia might be a good one to try to capture.
Doesn't say. Herbal and somatic. There's no materials.
That's potentially one that could work.
And
like we'd have to magnify it to a huge amount. But there's nothing saying we couldn't do that again.
Well,
but doing an entire city.
Another way we might be able to do that, you can obviously attune Candlewick with the airship, which can produce clouds.
No, I can't do that. Tried. Candlewick and the crystal do not get along. Kashan can attune to the ship.
I'm just wondering if maybe we could somehow infuse the clouds that the ship produces with Candlewick to sort of do like a misty remove curse over everything.
I mean, there's also the potential, I hate to admit it, but Llewellyn can also cast remove.
That's true.
So if two of us do it, using the ship as
because we've essentially got,
what do you call it, the amplifier.
Yeah, certainly a possibility.
I can't remember, did we clarify if Saladin can remove curses? We know he's got some powers, but remember if we talked about it, I know he said he was tapped of spell slots.
He might be able to once if he's a cleric, then he would have access to it.
Yeah, he would have. You would be able to prepare it normally.
Which would mean there's potentially three of us that can do it then.
The other place which might be worth checking out in town, and which we could perhaps check out subtly, but we would need to be, at this point, I imagine if there are any enemies there, they know who we are, would be the other inn, the one where people have been checking in but not checking out.
Right.
Asia Shade.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing odd about a group walking into an inn to find somewhere to stay.
No.
So I imagine if they do try to kill us or whatever, then that will cause a ruckus.
The only other thing we need to think about is obviously secure this tower.
Yeah, so that is a trickier one. I mean, we can.
I'm gonna obviously go around the tower and I'm gonna see if I can find like a reset button, for the security system, like circuit breaker.
You need a wizard who can cast arcane lock.
Yes.
But there's a possibility that there's a scroll laying around that you could try and find. She may.
Reset technically.
It won't be she's not made an entire home security system.
Basically went around casting arcane lock on everything.
Yeah, okay. if you exit out the mansion and then start rooting around, you can give me an investigation.
I mean,
No? Okay. Sitting right there. Though.
oh no, because I was guarding the wizard. So I wasn't going to leave it.
All right, sure. You want to investigate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not intimidated.
Mm,
29.
pretty good. Okay. You're looking for the arcane lock scroll specifically. So you do find a number of scrolls, dusty ones, and
Anything interesting?
well, let's find out.
Are any of them enhanced cantrip scrolls? Because I'd like to study those.
Of course you would. Mm, okay, so there's second level scrolls. Oh my god, a lot of them. Okay, because you rolled 29, which is damn good. I'm gonna allow you to.
Looking for squirrels is my specialty.
Absolutely.
I write most of these.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you roll a D. Oh boy, there's a lot of them. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh my god, it goes on and on. Oh my god, oh wait, I haven't actually filtered them. That's why. that helps. Okay.
You can.
Yeah, I know. I'm just looking at that many. Okay. Count with me.
No.
1, 2, 3.
Hmm.
Sesame. One blah. Ooh,
Would they not-
blah.
Would they not be in alphabetical order?
They are.
Alright, so 45 there is. That's a lot. I'm gonna allow you to roll 5 times. D45. And it doesn't mean you have a 5 in 45 chance. You've actually got a bigger range of that. I'm gonna say because you rolled 29. You can roll up. You can go up and down on that by 1. I'll demonstrate. The first one you rolled is 39. So 44, 43, 42, 40. This one. So you find a scroll of any one of these 3 spells. Could be Skywrite, Snillock, Snowball Swarm, or Spider Climb.
Spider climb, for
Okay.
sure.
So, okay.
That's useful.
There's a scroll of Spider Climb, and then we roll again. 26. 1, 2. 5, 26. As a scroll of one of these spells.
Middle one's going to come in handy.
Okay, there's a scroll of Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. So let me just make sure we're getting these. The first one was what again?
Climb.
Okay. And we'll do it again.
Nope.
Oops. Not like that. There it is. 9. Easier. One of these 3 spells.
I can already do the middle one.
Yeah. Most people have Tower Vision.
I'm going to go for the
Crown of Madness.
Crown of Man.
Okay, so there's a scroll of Crown of Madness.
2 more.
Yes. We've had that before.
Yep.
I'll re-roll it. Ding. Hey, enlarge or reduce or earthbind or flaming sphere.
Large reduced.
Which is pretty damn good.
Could you imagine enlarging Kashan and
Yeah.
the damage?
Okay, last one. 3. You might get it. There it is. You literally rolled exactly what you needed. So, in those, by miraculous luck, there is, of course, a scroll of arcane lock. So, if you wish to lock back up,
Yes,
there you go.
I remember writing it out.
Perfect. I can't believe that. There it is.
There's like she's just writing things off the shelf. There's like, there's like a couple of books, and then suddenly there's a bouncy ball, and
Great. Cool. Well, that you can't be more pleased than that. You literally rolled what you needed to get. So there it is. And I'll add these as spell scrolls to you.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
and I'll dish them out to whoever needs.
Well. Yeah. Sure.
So now that you've one thing, as you've now got a scroll of arcane lock, it might be worth giving that to Llewellyn so that he can then copy it from that into his spell book.
Well, I was gonna let have that anyway, but I'm not gonna tell him that yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll be when I need to keep him occupied and out of trouble. I'll just hand him one and be like, "Here you go," just so it keeps him occupied for a few hours,
Yep.
But the arcane lock, I kind of got to give him sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'll wait for them to come out of the mansion.
You wait for them to come out. Okay. All right then. So time does pass by. You guys rest up. Saladin is still napping, and during that time, the book is filling out, and you can see the dream taking shape. And I think you're next to that, aren't you, Karis? Or is
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Carius was keeping an eye on the book to basically,
So, what starts to take shape? What passages begin to make sense?
I don't know what ones do.
Yeah, I'm just coming to think. Okay. The dream follows through several underground corridors. You see sand pocketed around corners, and there seems to be some of it sifting down from the ceiling above as well. Wherever this is, it's definitely underground and probably somewhere far out in the desert. In fact, you get images of that. Just a quick image of the desert itself, but it's almost like it's blurred out. It's almost like you're seeing it through a filter. You remember feeling your own breath. It says in the dream that they can remember their breath against their face, like they had something over their head, and they were just seeing through like patchy holes in a cloth sack. But all of this is mostly a blur. They remember coming to consciousness. They remember hearing, well, there's a tune playing, a melody in the dream. It's alluring, slow, and melodic. In fact, see if we got something that's similar. Ilk on here. Yeah. Something, I would say it's probably more wind instruments and string instruments. And you can just hear them distant, but they get closer and closer. In the dream, he feels something like tightening around his mind, around his being. And it's at this point you start to see that perhaps the dream starts to become much more, well, dreamlike, vague, and surreal, in that what he feels is as if all the walls begin closing in around him. He feels as though sand is coming up to his neck. He's like being buried alive, strangled, and crushed in at the same time. This music that continues to play pulls his it effectively feels like he's pulling his mind away and pulling his body away, but leaving his mind trapped. And suddenly he can't feel his legs, whether it be because they're buried in sand or not. Again, it becomes surreal, and the dream doesn't start to make physically when you start reading word for word, it contradicts itself sentence after sentence, just how dreams do. He feels as though he's constricted and cannot move, and yet his legs are moving of their own accord. His arms are moving of their own accord. His lips begin to say words that his mind did not command them to. And all whilst this tune continues to play. And as he might try and resist, feels as though it was too late. He was lured in by this music. Still trying to find the source of it. The dream describes a flash of a beautiful woman, but it's only a flash within the dream. It takes up a very small space. The dream then gets more vague. It feels like it's jumping all over the place, from heading back, performing duties in the Temple of Serene Waters. People are brought to the temple. They are imprisoned, and this repeats and repeats. In fact, you start to see the dream take a much more metaphorical sense, and you see an hourglass and grain after grain of sand falling, and the dream zooms in on each of these grains of sand, and you can see people, like citizens of the dry oasis, falling. And it's at one point that the hourglass shifts and turns into a set of scales, and you start to see that one set of scales is starting to outweigh the other.
And is it possible to identify who's on each side of the scale from what this is? Does it appear to be like, for example, as he was earlier, on the side of the scale that's been weighed down is like Lieutenant Olwyn on that side, for example?
Yes, it is. And you see them. There seems to be like people like sleeping on one side, and they get up, they hear this music playing, and they seemingly walk across a bridge, and that bridge becomes a desert plain. And then as they get to the other end, you see that they actually walked across one side of the scale to the other, and they drop down.
Interesting.
And the dream ends. It seems like he's about to wake up, but the dream ends with a large eye suddenly opening, looking around, and then focusing in on him, and the pupil sort of is a slanted, long slit, almost like a reptilian sort of eye, and it focuses in on him. Seems to be like reverberating, like shaking, testing him, and then it disappears. And he seems like he's a little bit perturbed by this, and he sort of wakes up and rolls around. Ugh. Ugh. He looks around the room. I'm feeling rested, but
bad dreams?
Yes.
Yes.
How did you know?
I was keeping an eye on you just in case, something happened in your sleep. We don't know that removing the curse was the entire effect, and you were tossing and turning. Before he's had a chance to wake up, Karis is like hidden the book in like his pocket. So it's not like
Cool.
we've not been spying on your dreams. What are you on about?
Yeah,
Because
that
that's
is
a
a little
bit,
creepy.
yeah. Can you remember anything important that might be useful?
I believe that I was delirious from poison. I remember that I was being moved somewhere. I could feel my body being numbed. I felt my world closing around me. It went dark. I was trapped in a prison within my own mind. But that music, it still plays in my head. I can just hear it when I close my eyes. It was unmistakable. That music was coming from her.
Who's her?
Don't know. I think she is the one behind this. I think I hear a whispering voice in the back of my head. I think it's hers, telling me to do things.
Well, we'll make sure you don't do anything that a proper abbot shouldn't do, but a question for you. Now that you've recovered, do you feel you have the ability to remove curses?
I can pray to the waters and see if I can acquire such a spell for this day.
To wash away the darkness certainly seems appropriate. Ironic that it was the flames that cleansed yours, and now it'd be the water that cleanses others.
Indeed. Perhaps we can start tipping the scales back in our favor. And he does begin to pray, and as he does, he conjures water and like looks into the liquid, praying for a purifying, fresh fountain of water, effectively.
Another thing that might be useful is spells to remove or protect from poison in case someone gets afflicted again.
Yes, you are correct.
Yes.
Yeah, you hear him praying for protection against poison, which I shall prepare for him.
Yeah. Karis is going to look over at Andy at this point. Andy, Saladin has mentioned something about a song almost that seems to be permanent in the mind. I suppose almost like a permanent earworm. I'm wondering if maybe your music might be able to counteract it in some way. Mackin, even, not Andy. Go back, I would have said Mackin, because Carius is not as stupid as I am in that regard. Can't hear you if you're saying anything. But you don't appear to be muted, so I'm not sure if it's a mute button on your headset, maybe.
About now?
Yep, now I can hear you.
There we go. It's because I still had it on push to talk where I was trying to fiddle around with it earlier.
Okay.
That's
there
fair.
There we go. I mean, trying to think of the best way to do this. She doesn't really want to, get out the violin, That's a dead giveaway who she is.
Perhaps the jingle played can, where they like ring bells to like cleanse away spirits, perhaps.
Well, I was more thinking along the lines that sometimes when it comes to music, the way to, I don't know, there's this theory that if you play the same song backwards, it can undo it.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
So
That's
if
worth a
there
try.
if you can
Literally
don't
just
know.
thinking of the guy on the piano who plays it upside down.
Yeah. um if you can maybe hum it, sing it, even write it down if you know how to write sheet music, and then I can try and either sing it or play it backwards on something.
Mm.
I can hear it, but I'm not sure if I'm able to write it. I'm not a musician, but there are many
Could
a
try and hum it.
Karis
Mm,
is going to pull out the
well,
book to
yeah.
see if it somehow wrote sheet music for it, because Karis
It
heard the
did not.
tune as part of reading it.
It did not. It only mentions in the book. It says a haunting, distant melody lures my ears to the source,
He puts it
and
back
yet
in
I
his
feel my
pocket.
mind is being pulled the other way, being trapped. He will roll. I'm gonna roll a quick performance check for him, and we'll see if it's any use to you. It
He's
is.
supposed to give sermons and sing hymns, right? Technically.
So this guy is clearly not musically inclined. He's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, that's not it. It sounds too joyful. It is like a, mm-hmm. No, that's. He doesn't quite get it, and it's although it's a blur or kind of a smear or a smudge in his mind. There's pieces of it, but where it's been sort of removed, the curse has been removed. It's like it's not fresh in his head anymore. He says though, but perhaps there are others though. There are many musicians within the Cloud Coast, and indeed the Dry Oasis, dancers, musicians. If one of them have been charmed, then perhaps cleansing them, you might be able to get the full tune in its entirety.
Damn, I was hoping that spell was different. Okay.
It is a good idea. I am just not able to sing this song.
Yes.
I had hope because I'm just like looking through the spell sheet and I remembered she has clairvoyance, and I was looking at that thinking, oh, maybe if she no, it doesn't let her like kind of hear it in his head. Damn.
I mean, in which case, I'm wondering if. But even then, how would we get them to?
There are many minstrels. In fact, there was one in the Acacia Shade.
There was?
Yes, they would have live music to entertain patrons.
But not anymore, I'm guessing, considering how things have changed there.
Yeah.
But
Who was it?
It has been quiet.
do you know the name of this performer, as Matt can just ask?
Oh, sorry. Yes. Let me see. Hold on a minute. Mm-hmm. Doop-doo.
Well, if you're eating, Jamie looks really tasty.
He's eating that chocolate log again.
It looks good.
Okay, so her name was Najila.
Ring any bells, Mackin?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
can
know.
roll me a
Does it
history
ring any
check.
bells?
Yeah. Speaking of bells, maybe that's what they had as an instrument. Roll me a history check, though. You might be able to
like a Morris
recall.
dancer.
I'm not used to using this because usually Steph does all the navigating. Bear with me.
That's okay. If you double click your token, you'll. Oh, there we go. Cool.
Okay.
11. It's been a while since you've been here, and there are a lot of musicians. Not one that you worked with closely, perhaps, but you have heard of the Acacia Shade, and you do remember there was definitely live performers. But you you're definitely not one-to-one familiar with them. You've probably heard them in passing, but it's up to you though. You mostly went to the Parched Dancer though, wasn't that was your kind of gig?
Was
Or
it?
that's up to you. Tell me which bars
She
you would
worked on
often
the
go.
streets.
There you go then. It makes sense
Mm.
then that you wouldn't have necessarily come face to face with this particular performer. So they're not a street performer. They're a hired performer within the Acacia Shade.
There is, there is
Maybe,
someone
maybe
who might be worth talking to, but unless you had an idea, sorry.
I'm just thinking to be able to get this tune. Llewellyn can do weird stuff where he can kind of read thoughts and things. I mean, he's kind of done something like that before. Do you think that
No.
might work?
The telepathic bond might work if he
Yeah.
bonded with your mind. Then
If
My
I
mind-
willingly let him do it.
I would allow it. Problem is, my mind is not musically inclined. My mind is very different from a musician's.
But if we connect your mind to Andy's mind, like that, perhaps Mackin's mind, sorry, his.
Mackin.
Sorry. It's nicknamed, but don't worry. If we link your two minds together, and to some extent Llewellyn, as much as I hate to admit it, then perhaps the musical talent between the three of you could sort of meld to, you know.
Possibly. If it's worth a shot, you can try.
It's
The other option is to find a musician who can be of use. There are,
well,
like I say, plenty here.
I did have one idea of someone to speak to. If we believe that Harthir might not be trusted, then the people that he knew potentially might also not be trusted, and he was friendly with a dancer in the Parched Dancer.
That is true. Yes.
We're talking about Hafa being friendly with women in the Parched Dancer.
Yes, we're trying to basically. It seems that part of the curse that Saladin was under, almost like a siren-like effect with music, and we're wondering if maybe if we can invert the tune, then we might be able to counter it. But Saladin not being the most musically talented, and I'm not either, so don't take that any offense there. I'm trying. Can't quite get the tune. We're wondering if maybe if you linked his and Mackin's mind together, then, and maybe your own, because I know you do play a mean bagpipe, then it might maybe allow that musical talent to be shared to some extent, because it's not just telepathy, it's a telepathic bond.
But where did this music come from?
A woman is all that Saladin can remember.
Okay, we could give it a try.
It's just an idea. The other idea is to... It seems, based on Saladin, what Saladin said is that the scales are tipping in the favour of these replacers or cursors or whatever you want to call them. The Dark Oasis, perhaps, might be a good name.
I mean, surely, if it's in his mind, he can just tell us.
Well, it's a song, and he can't quite get the tune. It's like, because his musical
Yeah,
talent.
he tries again, like humming it, and he seems to like stumble over the notes, and he then corrects himself and then shakes his head like, no, that's not how it goes.
Mackin, what if you give a demonstration, aka Bardic Inspiration, to see if that helps? You know, musical
Can do.
might inspire them to be able to
this-
get the tune.
So is this subconscious?
Yes, from what we understand, it's like an earworm.
I can try. I'm happy to do that.
Mm.
So yeah, she'll give him some bardic inspiration.
Okay.
Interesting question, Chris.
Yeah.
When we left off, was it nighttime or have we slept? Is it morning?
This was during the day because I believe you woke up, you got Saladin to come round, and this is during the day. You've been spending a whole day waiting for him to recover, and indeed Nora as well. She's still unconscious.
Okay.
I mean, really, has it not been 24 hours for them yet? Saladin, can you wait? Can you wake up the fox lady? I've tried.
It's been like 18 hours for them.
You just wake them up.
Because I
Okay.
have a spell that could help, but I don't have it prepared. But
Yeah.
we'll try the rarest telepathic bond for now, and I'll set it out.
All right.
And that's it.
Sure.
Rich.
You connect minds with Saladin, and once
And
again,
and Andy as well.
and Andy. Yeah. So he's trying to remember a tune. He only remembers vaguely in a dream, which is very difficult. And so far, he's failed to perform it. But I'm gonna instead make this an intelligence-based check, which is ever so slightly better for him.
And they have bardic inspiration, so.
But he's also got bardic inspiration this time, so he tries to recall the memory of the tune within the recesses of his mind. And how much is your bardic inspiration? D8?
I think it might be a D10
10?
now, but I can't remember when it goes up.
Neither can
How many bard
Fifth
levels
level,
do you have?
10 people. We have 11 in bard, so a D10 is what it is now.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
And it goes up to D12 at 15th. So here we go. Oof.
12.
I did not do good.
No.
I'm sorry. You get portions of it, and you start to make out a melody in their head, and you can hear it, but it is muffled, and it does seem to like tune in and out, and it sounds distant. Seems like he remembers the portion of it when he was getting close. So if you imagine, you put yourselves in his shoes, he was in this underground chamber, getting closer to the music, hearing it. It's distant and it's just alluring. But once he kind of goes into the chamber and hears it full blast, is the moment his mind is not his own. He's charmed at that point, and so therefore those memories become not his own almost. And so what you really hear is just this distant, muffled version of the tune. It's very difficult to pick out.
I mean, Matkin, with their musical knowledge and talent, are they perhaps able to pick it up better than maybe others?
Well, it's based on his memories of that. So if all of his memories are just muffled and distant, then it's not going to be enough.
I was more just thinking like maybe with the muffled sort of nature, maybe that's given Andy enough of a clue that she might recognize the overall melody, like maybe it was a song they'd heard before, sort of thing.
Right. Potentially.
I've had an idea.
I like ideas.
Kind of pulling this from a movie.
I like those sort of ideas.
Have any of you ever watched the Professor Layton movie?
No, but I feel like I should.
In that, it's based around music, about an opera singer and this special song that is supposed to unveil a great treasure by the end of it. And it was called the Song of the Sea, just giving the example, setting the stage, if you will. And this was played on a big pipe organ. And it turns out there was another row for the song, a secret row no one knew of until they discovered it. So I'm wondering if trying to play almost like if I can hear a muffled version of it, it still might be enough just to almost play a harmony over the top, which may just kind of not necessarily counteract it, but sort of modify it enough that it doesn't kind of fully take someone over, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in theory, they could still have their senses, but we could almost use them as a little kind of.
Okay. If you want to give it a shot, if you want to try and make a performance check with, I'm going to say with disadvantage, purely because of how muffled it is, and
I think it
I'm
would have
also
been
gonna
easier if
be-
someone had known the movie and probably knew what I was talking about, but never mind.
I get the idea.
okay.
I mean,
And so naturally, with plus 14, it's going to be a higher roll. However, what I will say though is, Saladin seems to sort of nod along and listen to it, trying to discern it, and he says, "Now, that does sound similar, but I do not believe it is as I heard it in person. But maybe that was perhaps because it was a different instrument. In fact, I would actually ask, which instrument are you using? Would it be the violin at this point?
No, she wouldn't be using the violin. She would be trying to sing it. She's not getting the violin out because it's too obvious who she would be with the violin.
This is the part where it does raise a few eyebrows, because he says it does sound similar. Maybe it's because of the instrument that I heard it with. It's different when hearing it through a voice. I believe it was a string instrument. I think it was a violin. And he doesn't say this with any kind of expression on his face. He does seem to be like really trying to remember, but it does so happen to be a violin.
Okay. How much can we trust this guy?
Well, he's meant to have had the curse broken on them, and he's a priest, so
She looks to Saladin and she's like,
about as much as you would have trusted him first coming into this city.
I understand your
probably.
mistrust.
Though, Llewellyn, in this mansion, you can create stuff, right?
It takes time. It only changes when I recast the spell.
Wait, I've got an idea. It might not be the same instrument, but Carries will quickly nip out and he's going to grab the mandolin. It's close. It's a stringed instrument. It's not exactly right, but maybe it'll be closer.
To as an idiot's violin.
It's closer. And I'll be
Originally, I think back at some point there was one country in particular that actually played it with a bow.
they do that in Ella Enchanted, don't they?
Yeah, but don't ever do it with a real mandolin, like a modern one. It sounds terrible. I've tried it.
She tried.
It's terrible.
So, I will hand the mandolin to them. It's not quite that, but this might get closer. Maybe stir some memories.
Okay.
To be fair, you do realise that Mackin's room is like littered with all different instruments because she's a musician. They can never leave the mansion because they're part of the mansion, but it's just a point.
All right. So I'm not going to ask for another roll, but what happens is you do play it on the mandolin, the same tune, and he starts to go, yes, it was something similar to this, yes, but I'm not sure if it was 100% the exact tune, note for note, but it does sound
Well, she
strikingly
wasn't
similar.
attempting to play the tune. She was attempting to play a harmony.
Harmony, yeah. Okay,
So
you have achieved that, and he says, "I just hope it works. We just need a way to test it now."
Which means we need to find somebody who's afflicted, which means that probably the best bet would be, if rumours are to be believed, the Acacia Shade.
In fact, even just upon hearing it now, I feel like my head has been cleared. Like I do not hear that whispering voice.
I'm just going to roll an
I-
insight on that because that seems oddly convenient. I look at him skeptically.
Sam.
Yeah, go ahead. Feel free to roll insights. Anyone is?
Yeah.
Did you want to?
I'm not there. I'm in the tower.
Yeah, okay, Kashan. So, what you notice is then, if he is saying this, and he does appear to be genuine when he says that it's clearing his head, what you come to understand, Kashan, is that it is partially working. With a 24, you understand that it probably won't reverse the effects, but it will prevent the effects.
So it's kind of like, almost, for want of a better word, it's almost like a bard's counter charm. Like, because that doesn't stop you getting the effect, it just makes it harder for the effect to be applied.
Yeah. Saladin, could you just leave the room for a moment?
Okay.
Walks
He gets
in on
accosted by Snurgs.
walks in on Snurgs doing a conga line.
He joins in at the back.
Yeah. So the spell that I mentioned that I had can have me drop into someone's dream. I didn't want him being in the room in case we do decide to do that, and subconsciously he tries to fight it.
Yes.
So but
possibility.
I would have to prepare it in the morning.
Yes.
But that would be an easy fire way of learning what this tune is.
With that spell, if memory serves correctly, this is out of character. I think you can actually choose someone else to go into the dream. I don't think it has to be you. I think you can select a messenger.
If it can, then I'll do it. Is there a way of actually?
You just click on the spell. Which is, yeah.
There you go.
So, you or a willing creature you touch enters a trance state, acting as a messenger. So you could send like Andy in, for example.
Exactly.
But it only works if the person's asleep. And
So that's always an option. We've still got the rest of the day to do whatever needs to be done.
So
But if we need to find out what this tune is, then I can prepare that tomorrow.
based on what we've learnt so far with what Andy is playing, whilst we don't think it will necessarily reverse the effect, could it work almost as like a temporary stop, almost like puts the effect on pause, like I can't think of the ability, but
Neutralize.
yeah, just temporarily, like whilst the song's playing, it no longer has effect, but as soon as Andy stops playing the song, it starts affecting it. And I think there's a spell that does something similar, like if you're poisoned while this is an effect, it doesn't stop the poison, it just pauses it, basically.
guys,
Oh, yep.
what if? I don't know. This just seems too convenient, but there's that one spell song that my violin can apparently do,
That
but I
you
haven't figured it out. What if
that
that
is
is
the
the key?
song.
More
Huh.
reason for you to go into the dream.
Or for us to investigate this further.
Hey, I'm very sorry, guys. I gotta head out.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later.
All right, see you, Cam.
Bye bye. Don't die.
Bye.
I mean, so I can't keep up the charade in front of this guy. I don't think, if we're really going to get him to help.
Agreed.
I need some kind of assurance that he's not going to turn me in, because wanted criminal here.
Well, on the plus note, technically, from what we understand, there aren't any guards right now, so nobody to turn you into.
I also have the ability to modify memory, so he could be completely okay with you being scot-free.
But I want him to trust us genuinely. No offense, thank you, but
Yeah. Well,
Just wanna try.
if he does trust us for this, then he starts turning us, perhaps that's when we can keep that as an ace in the hole, as like he's betrayed us, we'll wipe that memory before he has a chance to use it against us.
Oh no.
But I don't know why, I just feel like we've got to make a decision on where we go next, and there's only 3 places in town where we definitely know that there's people who are under the sway, which is, well, technically 4, but there's the Carpenters, which is the 4th one that I just thought of, the Guardhouse, the church, and the Acacia Shade.
And the well. The well is shifty as hell.
There's a well. Well.
Damn it. Yep. So you need to plan where you're going. As you're discussing this, you start to hear Nora does start to come around. She's like,
Finally.
guys,
Hi.
where? What? Wait, where am I?
Welcome to the 5-star Kiasta Inn.
What? I'm in an inn? Hold on, I don't remember that name in the Dry Oasis.
No, it's a magic inn that Llewellyn conjured up.
What? She like springs up out of her chair and she starts looking around. You wouldn't think she's been unconscious for 24 hours because she's just got such a spring in her step. She's already running around. Like, wow, this place is cool, very fancy. Ooh, plants.
Yeah. Ignore the
Kind
spider
of,
people.
it's kind of like an elven feel to it. Well, spider people, freaky.
Yeah, they're called
Suddenly
Snurgs.
Snags.
Anyway, just because I've not actually suffered the effects of the poison, other than being unconscious, did you have any strange dreams whilst you were unconscious or anything?
No strange dreams. I'm still miffed off about those cabbages, but that's all right. I don't plan to stay in this town any longer than I have to. Told you people were creepy. I'm getting out of here.
They are, but we might be able to fix that problem, and then you'll be able to trade it freely.
Okay.
And I mean, you feel free to go, but if you do stay, then once we've sorted all this out, I could do with a liaison in this town as a representative of my family to, negotiate a deal with one of the taverns here that supplies a pretty good wine. So you could be our fox on the inside.
Okay, not a bad idea. But where am I staying in the meantime?
I mean, you're welcome to stay here whilst it's active, which is 24 hours, I think.
Oh, perfect. Cool. I've made
Assuming
myself a
that's
home.
okay with you, Llewellyn, is they're already here.
Yeah, it's perfect. We'll know so long as you don't leave. We'll know you're safe because no
Yeah.
one else can get in here without
And you can
permission.
keep an eye on the kids.
That too.
Kids. Oh no. You didn't bring these. Oh wow.
Also,
Okay, sure.
there's plenty of cabbages in the kitchen.
Wait a minute. These kids are off the streets.
Yes.
Well, where else are they going to be from?
Well,
You think we're just inviting anyone in here?
Yeah, you think we're just stealing kids from their parents?
no, but I do think they're the ones who are stealing.
Nah, they're under the training of people here.
Oh.
So of course they are.
We're thinking of potentially hiring them as ship hands once all this is over.
Look, just listen to this. Hey, you. Use the spell that I taught you.
They cast message into Nora's ear. Nora reply. They're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then Nora replies like, "You're not one of the ones who stole some vegetables from my store the other day, were you?
They're kids. They're not going to steal vegetables.
They need to eat.
Yeah, but vegetables.
Kids gotta eat."
Kids don't eat vegetables. Have you met children?
Probably what they say back.
Why
Like,
can't
no, why would you steal vegetables? That's disgusting. Like, especially moldy ones. All right, that's it. She starts like going up to them, and Nora is about the same height as the kids as well. And so when she tries to clip their ears, they kind of just duck away and run. And she turns back to you guys and goes, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, we'll be fine. We'll be just me and the kids."
Maybe you can teach them the finer aspects of commerce.
Sure, I'm sure they'll find that enticing. Anyway, thanks for saving my butt back there. Last
Yeah.
I remember, we were trapped in the catacombs, but
Yeah, I got stabbed a lot.
oh, hey, well, I think I got stabbed once. Probably for the best.
Yeah. Honestly, I kind of wish I had gone down to the poison, but instead they stabbed me like 20 times and started beating me over the head.
Yeah, you gotta know when to give up,
The
or
poison
at least
just
your body does.
the poison just didn't seem to want to work.
Oof. Well, this place is much nicer, so thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
There's a bathhouse through that door over there if you want to wash up. Not that I'm
You
saying
read
you
my
need
mind.
to, but you know.
Yep, you hear a splash.
Right.
She's already dove in.
Right.
Okay.
I turned to Sean. Now's your chance. Shane Camp's not here for that.
Sure, yeah. Why not? He exits stage left.
I mean, they had like a friendliness, you know, and
Yeah,
it keeps him
they
away
got
from my
along.
sisters.
That's true. Right. Anyway, what's your plan of action, guys? You need, and I'll tell you.
Flirt. It's not Kashan.
Because Sean flirted with another one of them as well. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
First things first. Let's go find Irina, and then we can work out plans. So Karis will just quickly nip off to find Irina.
Okay. So you pop out of the mansion.
Team meeting minus
Okay.
Kasham because they're flirting.
Irina is probably in the middle of like her rummaging for the the scrolls basically, and obviously you see like as you kind of
Corpses
come
everywhere.
out, this is where you see like the bouncy ball come like flying out of the doorway and sort of bouncing around, and like a stuffed toy and like an old box, and she's just throwing things, and she's like half buried in the bookcase because it's one of these deep set bookcases that's got all these boxes on it, and you hear from like the back, aha, I knew it was, I bloody knew it was in here, and she comes out with like a handful of like
Nice.
Hello.
eels.
So we managed to get some information off of Saladin, and now we need to decide our next move. The
That
dream,
is.
the dream journal worked.
Oh, really?
It gave a bit of insight. Seems there's some woman that might be behind this, and some weird reptilian like giant eye, and there's music involved. And Mackin,
That
I'm
music's
just
very
gonna,
active.
I'm just gonna get into practice of saying Mackin, even when no one else is here. Thinks perhaps it might be the hidden song on their violin or related in some way, because the instrument it was played on was a violin, supposedly. Saladin can't remember the song, but Andy's managed to sort of put together a facsimile of it, which might help stop it affecting people, but not cure people once they're affected.
You've yet to test it, so
We haven't tested that, but that's the theory.
okay.
I'm just wondering. Obviously, if Carius is telling me that it has to do with, we know it's a woman and a reptilian eye, and we know this thing can control or curse people. Does my brain sort of go from anything that I've read, like some form of deity, lesser god, entity that can do that sort of thing, just from like folklore and.
Wait, you said it was a slit-like eye. Would that also work as a bird's eye?
Well, you've only told Irina reptilian, so that's what she's saying.
Birds don't have
I don't
slit
know.
eyes.
I don't know what I was
think
thinking.
Cats, reptiles, and actually, not all reptiles have that. There's
Yeah.
some snakes with round eyes and some snakes with like slit eyes. But anyway, you're trying to think of a mythological creature that has these kind of traits.
Yes, that's
Okay.
maybe native to like desert areas. So maybe something that kind of lived around the time of like the Genasi or the, what are they called, the Ifriti and things like that. Sort of looking along those lines, things that.
Okay. I'm gonna roll a, what's it now?
Because obviously, if this
Arcana?
happened around the time of like they went into the catacombs, I'm considering that there's a. My brain says that there's a link there.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe something linked to.
Okay. Arcana it is. Around a natural 19 by the looks. Very tasty. Okay. I'm gonna ask you real quick before I divulge anything. What kind of creature do you think it is? Because you said, I think Carius mentioned a siren song type of thing earlier, but what do you think it could be? Out of game.
Out of game?
Yeah, out of game. What do you actually believe it to be?
I'm sure there's. I don't know what part of my brain. Maybe I read it in like a fantasy book or something. But there was this creature that, like, almost lived under the desert sand, almost like one of those sand crawler lizards sort of things. But it could change its shape, and it didn't necessarily sing to people, but it would carry people off.
Right. Okay.
I can't remember what it's called, and I like, it could just be completely made up, but I'm sure I've read it in a book.
Chupacabra. Okay. So that's probably what you initially think of as well. And keying in that it is a desert environment and that there seems to be key elements like reptilian songs. You conjure a couple of images in your head, and I will say that I don't want to give it away just yet. The 26 is pretty good. There's a couple of ideas. One of them is something like a succubus, but we've had no clue of like fiendish thing or anything of that nature. But something that is charming and alluring could be something like a what's it called? Like a desert variation of a siren. Something maybe like a harpy could also work, because harpies sing songs to sailors and lure them lure them adrift. Or one that's in the desert. But then again, deserts were seas once upon a time. Perhaps they've just adapted to being in a deserty environment. They've taken a more reptilian form. You start to think maybe there's a desert variation of a siren that could fit the bill. And as you were asking about deities and such, any ones that have such powerful charm and they incorporate art into their enchantment. The only things that come to mind are the ones that you've encountered recently, such as the muses, the 9 muses.
Did any of them have lizard-like appearances from like any of the paintings or sculptures we saw?
No, but by going off of that, you kind of think maybe it could be one, but like twisted and
If not,
a
it's
twisted,
like,
corrupted version of them.
didn't they say like they granted boons to or
Yes.
something like that? I was looking up what
okay.
where this creature in my head came from. It's from a book series called Rebel of the Sands.
Oh,
And the creature's actually called a baraki. And it's basically like this desert shape-shifting horse
oh.
that carries people off.
Well, it's funny because you did hear hooves when the wagon was taken off, and only Kashan got a good look at it. There was some sort of 4-legged creature
Yeah.
with hooves. Oh, no.
Anyway, getting back to
Yes.
the muse. So that's basically the book that I read it from. It's not an actual true mythology thing, but it's based on something.
Mhm.
Okay, so they can grant boons to people who potentially, because obviously I've got that book.
Yes, on the 9 muses.
Yeah.
They can. They can give blessings of inspiration, knowledge, skill.
Are there any stories or snippets in here that like have examples of people that have done this? Because I know obviously the Sultan was one of these people,
Yes.
but that's in a completely separate book. Is there another example where someone gets the ability to like charm or
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. There will be passages describing some of the muses who use their natural beauty to seduce. And one such tale probably listed many different, but there were probably many tales about how certain individuals were gifted this, what's the word, supernatural beauty, and then were able to charm and get whoever they wanted in life. That's an example of one. Another one would be like giving them skill, like enough to be a mastercraft. Yeah.
I kind of look at Carius for a minute,
Mhm.
and then I kind of think for a minute.
Okay.
Where's Llewellyn?
He's in the mansion with Andy.
Okay. Llewellyn can leave the mansion, right? He doesn't have to
Yeah.
be in there for it to stay
No.
open, right? Go open the door, stick my head in, and just go, Llewellyn!
Sure.
Get your ass here!
That's
pull
probably
him out.
that's probably about the time where Llewellyn's like, why can I hear Irina echoing through the halls?
It's like a sick. You know she's gonna yell any second now.
Okay.
Yes.
Out you come, Llewellyn.
Okay. We've been talking, right? And I'm just wondering. So we've got this woman who plays music, potentially twisted oogie boogie, reptilian. The woman that took your eye, wasn't she like a snake lady who played music?
Oh, Hestelia, yeah. Yuan Ti played
And she was potentially in the capital when it went corrupted?
yes. Plays I believe one of those special violins that Andy has.
I'm gonna have to fight myself again.
also has a cauldron that curses things.
Oh god, and that was in the capital as well. What the hell happened to Crud? Oh no.
Do we? Is
What's it-
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that? Am I the only one who thinks that sounds eerily?
I mean, yeah. I was beginning to think like somehow it was Andy's mum, and that's how they had like a similar violin somehow, but
Yeah, but Andy's mum's not some creepy snake lady.
as far as we
And
know.
if Andy's mum went through everything to try and keep Andy safe, I don't think she'd be here cursing people.
Maybe
She's lost her
well,
nostril seat.
unless she's cursing people as revenge for the death of Raheem.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah,
I still think the other theory makes more sense.
the Yarn-T does make more sense. I mean, it was a giant reptilian eye that seemed to like observe and then almost
think-
measured them up.
I think more so than ever, I need to go into Saladin's dreams, or one of us, to find out this tune, because if it is Hestelia, maybe I'll recognize it.
We've done that. We've already done that. We
No,
rolled for it. He
no, I
got
mean-
a 12.
No,
No,
I
Jamie
mean
wants Helen to
physically
go
going
into the dream.
in.
Like
Like-
literally go into the dream using the dream spell.
So I'd be able to hear it.
Okay.
But then again,
I'm gonna just flat out say and just save you the time. The rolls he's getting, he both roll performance and an intelligence check.
those
Both
are
very subpar. You can't get any further with Saladin.
yeah,
you
we'll
can't.
need to go for
You
someone
need
else.
either a musician or a dancer from the Claude Coast, from Dry Oasis.
I'll
One
do
who
that.
has heard the tune and has a musically aligned mind that can recall the tune perfectly, because to him it's a vague, distant, blurred memory. He doesn't, when he heard the song, he wasn't picking out the tunes like, yes, a beautiful tempo, and he wasn't going like intricately analyzing the tune. It's just a tune that he has heard in the head, and it manipulated him, sure, but you can't get any further with Saladin.
Okay,
Long
so
story
we have to
short,
go
he's tone
find.
deaf.
Yeah,
We have to go and find either a bard then. A bard would be the best option because it's a song that we need, right? A dancer
Well-
wouldn't necessarily. Yes, they'd give you the beat, but they wouldn't necessarily be able to perform the song. So we need someone who plays or sings.
Well,
Do we?
So
the
we have a couple of
the
options.
Acacia Shade supposedly had performers, so there might be someone there.
But
we
they
know what-
may not be affected by this infliction, so they may not have heard
Well, the
the song.
Acacia Shade is where people are disappearing from.
Oh, I've got
and-
it mixed up. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
Sorry, no,
Yeah.
that's my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we know what half ear was?
he was a
What do you mean?
Like
a
what
He's
Isn't-
a
fire
traitor
genasi.
and a shifty guy.
He's a fire genasi. Looked like a fighter. Had spells.
And
Not sure.
shifty.
I mean, he
He's a
could be a
fighter.
College of Swords bard
I have no idea what he was.
or an
That's what I was
Eldritch
I
thinking.
don't
Knight.
trust him. I don't want him here.
Well, that's the thing. Whoever it is, we're not going.
We're not going to trust them because it's someone random who's been cursed.
And what if he's not cursed? I just think we need to try someone else.
Okay, we look for a bard. Do we know of anyone else musically trained in this place then?
The Acacia
Specifically-
Shade is probably the only place worth going, to be
Well,
honest.
That's where we get ahead then.
But before we do, I literally gonna hold out the arcane lock spell scroll, Ellen.
Okay.
Oh, also, yeah, I don't actually have the spell prepared today because I didn't know we were going to be dream hopping or anything, but
Well, we're gonna have to knock them out, bring them back. Did you prepare remove curse?
of course I did.
Good.
Take the damn scroll. Thank you.
Okay.
Where's
so you
my
get a scroll of arcane lock.
Because this
I'm
is
gonna
a
put it on your sheet.
because this is a magical place, is there any ink here?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Irina wrote a letter earlier.
Yes,
Yes.
there isn't.
Is there enough for me to copy
Spend
this?
the 4 hours
A second level
necessary.
spell. Yeah.
Is it? Oh, it's that higher level.
Second level.
It's like nothing.
Second level. Oh, second level. So it's
Oh,
far
is
away.
it?
Also,
Or
there's
is-
a magic copying pen upstairs.
There is.
That's true.
I mean,
The parrot quill.
Thingy does that as well. To be fair.
No, but I'm wondering if, as you're writing it, if it will just be able to mimic you writing it, so you're writing 2 scrolls at the same time.
I doubt one would be magically imbued, though. It's just copying the words, not necessarily the fact.
Hmm.
Yeah. Plus, the spell is also practicing it, not just copying it.
True. Well, you'll have plenty of things to practice. You've got at least a window and a door to lock.
Well, the door's technically blocked off from anyone anywhere, but so long as they don't bombard it with dispel magic.
Okay, so you're going to take 2 hours to copy this into your book?
Is it 2 hours? Is it an hour per spell or is it 2 hours per spell? I forget.
It's an hour per spell. Half the time if it's something on necromancy as a vellum.
Yeah. So we're good. I mean, if we want to be able to do this multiple times, then yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you just think, it is about nighttime now anyway. Just want to point that out. Because it took 24 hours.
For Nora to wake up.
Yeah, for Nora to wake up. So you spend most of the day doing this. So you could do 2 hours, no problem, during
2
this
hours.
day.
2 hours, then sleep.
Yeah,
Cool.
you could do
cool,
that. All right. Cool. So I'm gonna say that happens. Do you guys want to go out at night, or are you gonna stay in?
I'd like to keep an eye at the window using the spyglass,
Okay.
just to see if there is any movement at all outside.
It has been a bit of a ghost town out there.
Yeah, during the day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now you want to see what's going on during the curfew.
What's the dealio?
Okay. I'm gonna have you roll a perception check.
Wow.
With the spyglass, I'll give you advantage. But
While
it is
you-
dark.
While you're doing this, when Llewellyn gets to like finishing the thing, you hear him pop up and go, "Oh no, I left
Wait, sorry.
Saladin with the Snurgs," and he runs off.
All right. With a 19, you can see there are a number of guards atop the towers, not the towers, but the wall surrounding the the Dry Oasis. Goodness. Though you don't see much movement down in the streets. In fact, very, very little. If you're looking over towards the keep and the Temple of Serene Waters, you do see a faint dust cloud north of the city.
I zoom in.
Zoom in.
No, I know.
You can do as much as like squint and try to there's movement.
Like, I can see 120 feet,
Mm-hmm.
so... And that's without the spyglass.
Okay. So what you notice is there's movement. The dust cloud is getting further away from your position.
So it's leaving the...
It is. And it was on the north wall. The same wall in which you guys stopped Carrius from being kidnapped.
So potentially someone has just been taken.
Potentially. And they're on the move right now.
Who's in the tower right
Carrius.
now? Okay.
Karis just waves.
I literally just gesture you over without looking away from...
Yep, Karis heads over.
And I'm literally going to keep the spyglass in the same place, but move my head to the side so he can kind of see where I'm looking.
Yep, Karis will look
Okay.
through.
What do you make of that?
Looks like there's some activity going on at least.
It looks like something leaving the city, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's whatever was gonna take me off before.
It's going that same direction.
What do you think? Do we follow?
I don't think that's a good idea, just because we still don't know what we're up against. Because we have a couple of theories, like, obviously, until we see inside Saladin's dream or someone's dream will find out about this song. We don't know what exactly is behind this, but we know something else is taking these on behalf of this person. So, like, have you ever heard of, and I explain the concept that I'm thinking of, like these creatures that can shift and kind of kidnap people. But we know that, like, the troglodytes kind of are involved somehow. How much do I know about troglodytes?
Troglodytes are very basic. We did a roll for this last time, and they are underdark dwelling humanoids who just are scavengers. They live in caves. They use crude. They don't even use weapons really. They use like claws and such.
Easily.
They're very, very like think goblins, but just stinkier. Yeah, and lizard-like.
Don't think following them is a good idea, just because of what happened last time we did that.
Well, in terms of the troglodytes, they're no real threat. It's whatever else they were transporting people with that's probably the threat, and whatever their boss is.
And the thing is,
They had a wagon.
is that if they are taking someone, they want that someone alive, potentially, because they're going to make them part of their, like, weird hive. So it's probably safer for that person go along with that for now until we can remove from everybody.
Yes, but either way, we either have to find a way to turn the scales back in our favor to lure them
Right.
out.
So once we learn this song, that could help. And then obviously if we can make I have a question. Is there, I know we're in like a landlocked area, but does the dry oasis have maybe like a lighthouse or some sort of beacon, you know, the fires are lit, Gondor calls for aid sort of situation?
The best you could actually use is the tower. Malone bought this tower specifically because it was one of the higher perches, and she uses it using it as an aviary. If you want to set a torch, a light on top, you could.
A torch, but what I mean is, like if Malone is very much in the realm of like kind of Tarek's way of thinking, I'm thinking if we've got sort of like a glass dome at the top, I can almost use it as like a giant magnifying glass to amplify
light.
the remove curse.
Oh, I see.
Like I did with the Temple of Sun and Moon.
Another
But
potential.
I have to do something to the glass to be able to.
Yeah, the glass isn't concave, just window glass.
But I'd only need one big pane.
Another potential idea. Obviously, if we're out after curfew, that will draw the guards. So this is just a hypothetical, wouldn't be able to be done today. But if we can get the song, and then in the middle of town, if you and Andy are there, you can be potentially almost, as Andy plays the reverse song, perhaps almost be channeling remove curse through that and use the sound waves perhaps as a way to amplify it.
I've just had a really vision in my, like, if that does end up pulling off, it'd be kind of like, you know, the bit in the Prince of Egypt where the plague kind of swoops around and takes all the souls.
Yeah.
And it's really eerie and spooky.
Yeah.
That.
I like that.
Just imagining that in my head.
But instead it's, yeah.
But we need to figure out a way of doing something like that. I don't know if you can enchant glass in that way. Like turn the whole, like all the windows into like one giant arcane focus.
I mean, in theory it would be possible.
Like if both myself and Llewellyn made it into like arcane focuses.
I've got
and cast at the same time.
I've got an idea. Though it wouldn't be using the windows and it might put one of the rooms out of commission. You've got a lot of sand in the sand aquarium that's filled with magic crystals, right?
Oh no.
They're not magical crystals. They are just
Yeah, but
crystals of worth.
they're
Well, they're
capable of being used as a material component, so almost like a focus for that spell, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah, they're basically ground down gemstones.
Anyway.
That means potentially losing the Sanquarium,
Yeah,
which
that was...
is Malone's. And I don't really feel right about doing
I know. It was just an idea that popped in my head. Did someone else say something? And I spoke over them. Did you say something?
Yes, I tried to.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Trying to be conscious.
I'm just
now.
thinking, if it's sound based and we want to try and fight it with sound, a violin can be pretty damn loud.
Yep.
And if Andy were to be in the right place with the wind blowing at the right time, that sound could travel over the whole city.
And in terms of the wind traveling in the right direction.
Look at that. We get the perfect combo. Someone to cast Remove Curse. Someone to cast to play the melody in reverse, if they wish. And someone to guide the wind to make the sound travel.
And
Lavelle, you can just
violins can be very, very loud. I mean, my one, which is only a semi-pro one, is pretty damn loud itself, and that's only semi-pro. So
the other way would be not only if we can get the sound in the right direction, maybe I wonder if there's some way we could create like almost like an echo chamber to like amplify it further.
There you go.
What if it was
the first electric violin?
Yes.
What if it was a giant violin?
Wait, with
That's
the
called a double bass.
No, with the enlarge reduce spell.
I do have
You
that.
don't know I have that, or have you got that?
You've got it.
And also,
I
isn't that
have
one of
that
the
as well.
spells that's possible from that Andy can do? For some reason, my brain wants to say that some of the instruments of the bards can.
Oh, their one, no.
Oh, really? That's a shame.
Just giant violin, giant music.
How am I
But
going
Andy
to
still
play
has
a
to be able
giant
to play
violin?
it. She only little.
You'd be it would, well, with how that spell works, it would increase your size and the size of all your items, so you would be giant.
I don't think you would need a bigger violin, to be honest. That's just overkill. My violin is plenty loud enough as it is.
I just thought giant Andy would be amusing as well.
No, thank you.
What about a super fast Andy? Who can play it super fast?
I can play pretty fast as it is.
You're just trying to find a way to be involved now, Lavellen, aren't you?
Yeah.
Lavelle has a way to amplify sound. I'm sure there's a spell to do that.
I mean, I've got spells like shattering things, but they're... I mean, it's kind of a... No, that wouldn't work. I was just thinking, like, with Magic Circle, you can do Magic Circle in reverse to basically make it a trap. I was wondering if somehow you can make silence in reverse to make it louder.
Or what if I use the creation spell to make a giant corn that
A
you
giant
play,
megaphone.
like a giant megaphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it could work.
At the top of the tower, you just see Andy with her violin, the wind blowing dramatically, and yeah, I like that.
Just want to be helpful.
Not knowing much about actual like music, would a giant megaphone actually amplify the sound of a violin in a decent way?
I don't know. I've never...
I mean, I'm
not
to YouTube.
What if
It's probably going to distort the sound more than anything.
Yeah. I was almost thinking, what if you were in the cone, so it just focused it? But
If we had duplicate Andes, would that duplicate the sound too?
Well, yeah, you'd have a small orchestra or quartet or
Yeah, a
something
small
going
orchestra
on.
of Andes playing the same
so
song
mirror image.
from different. I don't know if it could stretch that far. Different points of the city.
Sadly, mirror image only makes a illusory copy. You're looking at something like simulacrum at that point, or clone.
Yeah. When I went, well,
Unless we can enlist other bards
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
a good
and
idea.
actually make an orchestra.
But we need to learn the song first.
so basically what we've decided is we need
Where's
to
the kids? Do any of them play music?
Yeah, one of them has a harmonica.
Okay, let's upgrade him to a flute.
I mean, I've got an
Japan.
ocarina.
We're making a band. I'm pulling out the bagpipes.
Oh gosh.
I mean, I feel like based on what Saladin said, it might need to be a stringed instrument.
It's just like a flash mob of bards. That's literally what it's going to be.
So basically, tomorrow's plan: raid the Acacia Shade, save some bards, enter their dreams, learn the song, get them to play in the band.
Because if we have them stationed almost around the city,
Yeah, in different spots. And then obviously if you all play as one, it expands the whole city.
And Kashan can run around between them in order to keep them safe, and Llewellyn can give them that speed boost so he can do it extra quick.
Well, the thing is, Llewellyn, you can cast Remove Curse as well, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, so both Irina and Llewellyn casting Remove Curse as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, of course, Irina's is cast as kind of like Candlewick and potentially could travel on the sound waves because he's smoke.
Particularly
in
with
the
the
wind.
wind blowing in the right direction.
I don't know how Llewellyn's one works.
Mine is just like it saps the curse out of them.
Ooh, almost like a withering effect on the curse. Like,
Yeah.
I like that. That's a cool.
It saps it, and then it goes into the book, and the book nullifies it.
Nice. Almost like that's actually a really cool way of describing it. I'm now picturing like this curse energy just siphoning out of the book, and your book just opens and goes.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yes, the
All right,
sound
then.
effect was necessary.
Sounds like you guys have got the plan, and you just need to wait till sunrise
Yep.
to enact it. I mean, if you want to do it now, you can, but
I mean,
it's actually... No, I mean like in-game time. I mean, like it's night right now.
yeah.
Do you want to go during the day or during the night? It's up to you.
Day.
I mean, you're all fully rested at this point anyway.
Yeah, but we've already caused enough trouble, and Llewellyn needs to finish learning the arcane lock before I can lock the
Yeah,
door.
he's done that now. We'll say it only took him 2 hours. We'll say you could have done that over the course of planning.
Llewellyn.
Yeah. And then obviously in the morning I can change my spells to be able to use arcane lock and use
Dream.
the dream spell.
But at this point, I'm wondering whether it might be worth trying to capture them now or rescue one of them now.
Oh, you're welcome to go do so.
Up to you guys.
But we
How
don't.
stealthy is our group currently?
Carius sort of looks at his armor. I'm completely stealthy.
Most of you are stealthy, by the way.
Yeah, it's just Carius
Right,
that
they got-
isn't.
Yeah, I think it's just Carius.
If Carius flies on his glaive, he's not going to make any clanking because he's not.
I could give you guys an error of invisibility.
Yeah, but if that's the case, something will make noise if He rolls. It's down to the roll, not necessarily just the glaive. If he's on the glaive, he won't make footstep noising. He'll make whooshing noises like whoosh, you know.
Yeah.
But yes,
I mean,
still down to a roll.
whilst obviously we don't want to split everyone up, what if, because I'm not going to be that sneaky, what if I work as a distraction for it? So-
No, we agree we
No,
all stick together.
no, but what I mean is you guys follow me invisible, I go in as a visual.
Yeah, not
They
splitting
don't
up.
they don't realise we're a group, they just think it's me.
Could do that.
Because
You got
then
enough spells to
because
go invisible?
if we go in as a full group, they're likely to be wary. If we go in as just one, they might start rubbing their hands together. But they won't know that there's actually 5 of us or whatever.
You do that? Who's casting invisibility? Llewellyn and Andy, or just Llewellyn? Because you could upcast it.
Yeah. So
we're not waiting till morning now,
Up to you guys.
Well, if
because I would rather wait until morning.
My only concern about waiting till morning, which my brain says to do, is what if this bard that we're hoping to find gets taken away in the night?
yeah, and there's also the fact that even regardless of this, we are on a deadline for the elemental plane of Earth as well, so time isn't a luxury. But
Don't like the idea of venturing out at night when we've already caused enough trouble as it is. So
Yeah, no, I get that.
yeah,
It also may make Andy a little bit harder to spot in the dark, I guess.
true.
It makes
And you will all be invisible, so
how many of us are going?
all of us,
the full party.
unless Andy doesn't want to. I don't want to force Andy to.
she'll go with the rest of the group, but I am going to bed in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're only just setting up, so that way, obviously, we know
Yeah,
what we're
next
doing.
session we know what we're doing.
Letting everyone know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And who's staying behind because you don't want to leave the tower without it arcane locked?
you know how to arcane lock now, he said.
Yeah, but I can't prepare it till morning.
Well,
Yeah,
but you've
I've got a
copied the
scroll.
spell. You've got one scroll of it, so you could cast Arcane Lock on the thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Use the scroll to lock it when we leave. And
Then-
I've got obviously the key to get in and out, so
I don't know why, but in my head I envisioned that the scroll just went when I copied it.
no, that's only if you use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay then. That works.
Yeah. And that also locks in Saladin and Nora, so if they did try to betray us, not that I think either of them will. This is a really random question. With the Magnificent Mansion, I know you can stop people going in that you don't want. Can you stop people going out?
Nope.
That's a shame. Because it'd be good to keep them locked in there.
Carius just wants to keep prisoners.
Well, it's more Karis is thinking if we don't trust them fully, then allowing them access to a tower full of magic items and scrolls and knowledge, you know.
I have a question. When, like, obviously casting Arcane Lock, in particular on the tower, would it lock all the doors? Or can I just lock those with the key that I've got?
She's cast Arcane Lock on every single door and window.
Like, individually? Okay.
She did. She's been there for so long.
But I imagine that the doors have standard locks on them too, which my key would work in.
It did, but the front door got fucking.
Yeah, but it can lock like a standard door. Not necessarily magically.
If we
just
repair
lock
the
it.
door, I suppose, because it's off its
Like, because I
hinges.
don't want these people getting into Malone's library. I just want to be able to lock the door physically.
Yeah, the door is off its hinges. If you repair the door, then you can use the
Not
key.
the front door, the library door.
Oh.
And like the Sanquarium.
Okay. Right. I see what you're saying. Right.
I
Separate
don't mind
rooms.
being in like the main
I see.
area.
I see. Yes, you could do that.
Um,
Also, pointing out, it's actually a very small town. You don't have to be too far out if you want to go back and forth, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like if you needed to make a run to get back to the tower, it's not like, oh crap, we're gonna run across the city. It's not anywhere near the size of
Yeah,
Gaidia.
there, right?
It is literally right there. You can see the acacia shade from your window.
Okay. So I want to use my tinker's tools and try and mend the door.
Okay. It's going to be a bit more than that. You're going to need some proper like blacksmithing and welding because the door it had a battering ram through it. If they'd like broken the hinges, then sure, but it was buckled through and like smashed in.
Okay.
The lock's still intact. They didn't even bother trying to pick that.
So I need basically like screws and metal work done, right?
Yes.
Right. Andy, you make jewelry, right? Kind of the same thing.
You need to go to the blacksmith.
Not really.
Can we? Well, we've got the door barricaded, right?
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
magnificent.
but I need the door fixed so that we can arcane lock it.
Has no one got mending or anything like that? I know Laffy had it, but but Andy doesn't have it.
No.
I already checked that.
I have so many spells. No, I do.
You do have mending?
Yeah. It's one of my cleric spells.
Well,
I thought I had that.
So there's Irina trying to fix this door, about to set her hand on fire to do some welding.
And Carius walks over and he's just like, stand back. And just starts magically mending this. Just like, literally,
Okay.
as she goes to, like, use fire to melt it, Carius actually just starts rubbing water over and it just starts fixing.
We've been in this tower now for 24 hours with a broken door. You didn't think to do that?
I mean, there was a magic door in front of it, so I didn't feel the need. And I kind of forgot I could do it out of character.
Okay, so you begin rubbing oil and water in. It magically undents it. You can see the metal. It doesn't even make a horrible screeching noise. In fact, it just sounds kind of like running water. Like as you splash it, it's almost like the metal becomes water itself and like kind of sways and swirls back into a solid shape. And again, you pour some water onto the hinges, and they are repaired. And you can place the key in the lock, and it fits.
There you go.
Mending
one door.
Mending can fix a broken door. Okay.
Yeah.
And then Llewellyn, you casting Arcane Lock.
Yeah.
What's going to be the word? You need to set a passcode when you enter. When you make the.
Oh
That's
no.
called. It can be a phrase.
It can be a phrase or a word.
This is your mentor's tower, right?
Yes.
Give me back my robes.
Beholders are friends, not food.
Okay. Oh,
Because she had befriended beholders.
She did. I like it. Cool. And also, I need gold dust worth 25 gold, please. That'll be 25 gold.
Is anyone able to powder up gold dust? Wait,
Yes, you disintegrate.
this is with a scroll, so technically it's.
Yeah,
You use the scroll. You used up the scroll to put it into your book.
I didn't think you did to put it into a book when you're just
You not?
copying.
Okay, hold on.
I'm not actually sure on the ruling of that because you're copying it. I wouldn't think that uses it, but
Yeah, I didn't know about that, to be fair. That's why
I thought you get.
I was certain that it does consume it, and now I can't find. I can't be asked to look through it all now, right? When we've got like 5 minutes left. But for now, I'm gonna say it does. If it doesn't, then
If that's the case, then we have to wait until morning.
yeah, okay. Well, morning it is then. Hey, at least you repaired the door. Okay. All right. You're gonna wait till morning, get that all prepared, and then.
But also, I need 25 gold dust.
Yeah, that gives us make.
I've got
Sure, in
5,000
fact-
gold pieces. Here you go.
Did you prepare disintegrate today?
No.
No. Okay. That's one way to powder something. I'm just thinking, like, if you want to powder something quick, that would work. Transmutation works as well. What's it called? Transmute rock or something.
Got-
It's a spell that they use in Critical Role all the time. Caleb uses it. But anyway, all right. Right.
Someone who works in dueling would be able to turn it into dust, right? A duelist
No,
can.
it does destroy it. It says I've just found it. Whether the check when you attempt to copy it, you must succeed on an Arcana check. Whether the check succeeds or fails, the spell scroll is destroyed.
I'll say you could also do it with Shatter, Llewellyn.
Sure, I'll prepare shatter then.
Okay,
I mean, I've
cool.
got
All right,
Shatter. It's pretty much a default spell, so
All right,
you
then.
got it all prepared.
yeah.
You can.
All right, so we'll say you spin the slot, shatter the gold dust, and then you've got it ready for the morning.
Yeah.
All right, we'll skip over 5 minutes we've got left. So the dawn comes, and again, an eerily quiet stillness over the town of the dry oasis. Normally at this time of day, Andy, you would hear the minstrels through the streets. You'd hear dancers already waking up and bringing the town to life. And you'd hear market stalls calling out with their fresh goods, but it's just an emptiness. There's no smell of bread or spices. It's like this town has just become a ghost town, and it's not right. You feel the overwhelming urge to fix this, and it's your home. Having it so dead is not right. Anyway, the morning comes and you are preparing your spells, Llewellyn. You got Arcane Lock ready? Okay. Beholders are friends, not food, is the passcode.
Who?
And
Sorry.
you seal the door shut.
Before we leave, I am going to turn to Nora, the kids, and Saladin.
We're staying here?
They are staying here.
Okay.
And obviously I'm just going to be like, we're going to lock the door. Don't let anyone in. We have a key and a code. We will be able to let ourselves in. Do not let anybody in this building.
Very, very well. Understood. We are...
And we need to make sure that you're aware because Andy has mentioned that someone tried to do something.
You mean Mackie?
Yeah, you know what I meant.
He's rolled a 20 on inside, by the way.
Yeah.
At this point, he kind of gets it.
Just be aware that someone might try to get you to open the door.
We will try to stay quiet. Isn't that right, children?
There's plenty of books. There's some board games. There's food. Just
I can conjure food as well. Need be.
just make sure.
Hey, look, children, have some treats. And he conjures food and makes fresh baked bread. And children dig in. We'll keep them entertained.
All right, we'll be as quick as we can.
Right. Vara says, "Oh, if you could you check by my stall?
Sure.
Just put the covering over them because the vegetables are probably getting moldy in the heat. They've probably already gone moldy. I don't care. At least just check if the cart's still there."
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Right.
All right. Cool. You head out. All right. As you go down the steps, you see the baskets. Some of them have kind of been knocked over from the raid the other day. So their flowers kind of strewn across the ground, trampled, and some of them have died in the process as well. So you're just stepping on these dry, crusty petals as you exit Malone's abode. So once again, no one seems to be around. You walk the alleyways. Is there a sign of guards? Not immediately. You look to the walls. It's all kind of empty. So
Crosses.
strange.
Crosses. We killed them all.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be why. Yeah. Anyway, you guys make your way to the acacia shade. So I'll just drag you over there.
No
come into
possibility.
the town square. There is a number of chickens and pigeons. They're the only ones unaffected. This city now belongs to the chickens. What I'm trying to say. The well remains a dried up, sad reminder of this place's loneliness.
Can I look into the well?
Yes,
Just
roll a wisdom save.
Eric. Seriously, this guy's got a thing about wells. A really specific phobia to have.
Roll a perception check, Llewellyn.
I would, but it's not loading me in.
Oh.
If you could roll it for me.
Yeah, I'll roll it quickly and then we'll end it.
And of course, the last well I looked into spoke Abyssal to me. And
Me
my
too.
whole party.
What?
Kashan was there for that.
Yeah.
Kashan spoke back to it.
Very true.
Does Sean speak the Bissell? I mean, I know he speaks every language, but wasn't that before he could do that?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I look at Kashan in a whole new light. What the hell?
Llewellyn, this well has been dried up for a very long time. You can see all the way to the bottom. As a result, your eyes being able to see into the darkness, and perhaps the sun is just going overhead and shines directly down into the well, that your eyes catch glint of several stones that don't match the others made to build this well. They seem to be of a different stone, like a darker stone. Maybe it's just the mud over them. But as you kind of peer a closer, like scrutinizing them really, really hard, you do see there is perhaps lettering over them as well. Maybe there's runes. They seem to form a pattern on these dark stones. So there's like a ring of dark stones in the well. None of them are glowing. They all look ancient, and this well is still just dead and dry.
Hey, Kashan, you
Hmm?
can climb up walls, right? Do you want to drop down here, have a look what those are?
Sure, you good. Just don't go in the acacia shade without him. Sure. He kind of climbs down and confirms, yes, there is a ring of
Bye.
runes of some kind on the well. But they're long since inert or dead. They don't look, he calls up and says, they don't look like they're working, and he kind of taps a few. They don't seem to be doing anything.
Oh, weird.
Um,
I'm able to understand from what I can see what it is, like arcana-wise.
yeah, no worries. If you're gonna head off, we'll wrap it up as well. You could, if you wanted to, yeah. Just give me a
Yeah.
quick arcana check.
Yeah.
15, they are conjuration runes.
Well, that doesn't sound good. But that was a long time ago.
I mean, just because they're dark stones doesn't mean they're necessarily bad. What if it conjured water? It's a
True.
well.
I
And
told
obviously
you,
it's dry, and these things aren't working now.
told you there'd be something with the well. Anyway,
I mean, it doesn't mean it's
So
evil.
they're kind of browny, and that's why I said that may have just been mud caked on them. The stones are brown, whereas the ones the whole well is made of is kind of like a lighter stone, like a sandy stone. Whereas those ones are like a browny red. But yeah, they're
Darius,
Mm,
Acacia.
yeah, what about me?
you can conjure water, right?
Yep.
Point down the well.
Carius will. I actually don't have Cradle to Stream Water prepared today, so he'll
what?
We'll
Here-
come back.
he'll use shape water to shape water out of his thing and just wash off the things to remove the caked mud, I guess.
Okay, sure.
It's like a power washer.
The power wash. Sure. All right, yeah. You try to rinse these rocks of their muddiness, and there does seem to be a bit more of a defined, clear rune now, because if there were indentations, the mud would have filled up that, and they would have just caked over the top. as you kind of power wash it, the runes are much clearer, and they do form a perfect ring at one level down in the world, it's right near the bottom as well.
Okay,
And one last thing, I guess, Carius, is I'd like you to make a quick perception check as you do this as well.
Okay, perception. It is.
Yeah.
Go dice.
If you notice anything else. 14?
Yeah. I guess I'll send my Raven down because I'm not sending Kashan down again. Just to
No.
get,
Okay.
I just look for its eyes.
All right. With 14, not enough to notice anything like supernatural or anything like that. But I will say though, they do look very old, like maybe decades or maybe even older than that.
Old magic.
It's hard to know when this well was built. Probably one of the oldest things, because it's the first thing you set up in a town is the well. You need water, so you can just tell that it's very old.
Well, it's old. It was dirty. It's possibly magical, but we don't know for certain. But come back later and we'll check that out properly.
Ah, a well-being.
All right.
Yep.
Leads
Are you feeling well now that you've checked that?
No.
Okay.
Well, that's just swell.
Hello. Down there. Well.
All right. After that, I assume you stroll up
Yep.
to the acacia
Those
shade.
four being invisible, me not.
Oh yeah, is that you're going to cast that now? Yeah.
I guess.
Well, we would have done it before we left, right?
Yep, so they were invisible doing all this whilst Karis was seemingly talking to himself.
Sure. Okay.
We
We'll
probably
make
got
sure.
telepathic bond up as well, I guess, because you can ritually cast that, so...
All the preparations.
Okay. So those four are invisible.
Yep.
Do you have to upcast that how far?
Let me get.
Do you get 4 people?
So
fifth?
first, no, second, third, yeah, fifth.
Okay, so knock off a 5th.
I need to put myself into.
And your second as well for the arcane lock.
Yeah. One.
Cool. And as you approach the front doors of the Acacia Shade, which is basically the 2 doors have been painted to look like almost like 2 trees reaching over like an arch. And are you pushing the doors open, Karis, and going in?
Yep.
Okay. You begin to step on in, and there's no music playing. And you don't hear voices or anyone talking. But as you step inside, you are acutely aware there is a great number of bodies in here, and they all look around from their seats, from behind the bar, and they all just suddenly turn and look towards you. And none of them were in conversation before. You know how normally you kind of walk in,
Yeah.
there's that still silence? It was already silent, and if anything, noises made as you walk in, and suddenly like the kind of like screeching of chairs, or suddenly the clink of glasses as they're put down to suddenly look towards you. You just are standing in amongst a room of strangers. I would say all strangers, except there is one face you do recognize, and it is Bayard, the guard who you guys trusted. He is in here as well, and there is actually a number of dancers. There's 2, in fact, and there is a minstrel at the back,
And
but they're not even
that's the
playing music.
basket lady, isn't it?
Oh yeah, she's here too, actually. So you would
Mhm.
recognize her as well. Cool.
May the sun rays bless you, or whatever the greeting is.
And as you say these words, we're going to end the session before we do anything else. I think that's a good place to end it, because who knows what'll happen here. But they've all just suddenly turned to you. They're all just staring, emotionless, wide-eyed.
Well, yep. So join us on Sunday for the Witch Hunters, where things are really beginning to heat up. We're in some fight with some alchemy hags. join us next week for the follow-up to this, where we see if our plans go right like they normally do. And then join us the Monday after that, which is the 13th, for What Lies Beneath. But until then, good night, sleep tight, and don't let giant reptilian eyes bite, I guess.
And let the sun's rays bathe you.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah.
May
Have
your
a spicy day.
be spicy.
Have a spicy weekend.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.